welcome to The Good Life with me, Eileen. We are here on The Good Life Friday. We're here to open your mind. We are here on The Good Life Friday, and it is The Good Life. We are here to open your mind to living differently in the world. The Good Life radio show is brought to you by the Swim Conference. That is Sisters Winning in Ministry. The conference is July 20th through the 23rd. Make sure you go online right now and register for the Swim Conference. Y'all, there are only a few spots left. You do not want to miss it. I have a very special guest today, but before I introduce who and tell you who the guest is, I have another surprise for you today because ILSI Engineering, one of my girls, I Am Tucker, has offered the Good Life listeners the Good Life this weekend. There is a play, The High Priestess of Dark Alley, and she has donated 2 tickets to the play this weekend. It will be at La Petite Theater de Vaucaré, so make sure you call in. We're going to tell, right after at 11:45. If you are the first caller, you will win 2 tickets to The High Priestess of Dark Alley. It's a Saturday showing that is tomorrow at 3 p.m. But not only will you win 2 tickets, you will also win a $50 gift certificate to Dickie Brennan's Tableau Restaurant. So see, it is absolutely Good Life. So make sure you give us a call at 11:45. It is the Good Life around here on the Good Life Friday. Open your mind to living differently in the world. And I have a very special guest. He is absolutely one of my favorite people in the world. He is my brother. He is going to be hosting the Swim Conference next week. I am so excited. I don't know what to do. He has the most foresight I have ever seen because he picked this date a long time ago. And what's going on in the world today, it is absolutely one of the things and places where you need to be next week because it is the Good Life. It is Sisters Winning in Ministry. It is a conference that you cannot miss. And my special guest today is none other than my bishop, my brother, and the birthday boy, Bishop R.C. Blakes Jr. I know your birthday was yesterday, but you see, at my house, we celebrate our birthday for a week and a month.
I'm not mad.
So it's still your birthday. So happy birthday from all of the WBOK listeners. We are so excited to have you here.
Still my birthday.
It's still your birthday. Yes. Is that how y'all do it as well?
Still. That's how I do it. I'll celebrate it for 12 months if you let me.
Oh, see? Well, you know what? The fact that I opened my eyes this morning is always a blessing. So it's my birthday every day. So I'm really excited about that. Let me give the listeners a more in-depth breakdown of SWIM. It's Sisters Winning in Ministry. It's a conference designed to build the understanding and confidence of women to do the work of ministry. For a few days, my bishop, he's going to offer himself to everybody like he does every day. He'll pour into the hearts of female pastors, prophets, evangelists, and even everyday sisters who are just trying to figure it out. He also has a book signing. So what's your new book that came out?
My new book is entitled Wisdom for Women in Ministry. And, in the book, it's basically almost like the father-daughter talk for women in ministry, or women who are pursuing their place in ministry, whatever ministry might look like for you. And one thing we discuss in the book, as we will discuss next week, is that ministry is not, in the box, the religious box that we typically try to put it in. Usually when someone says, I'm called to ministry, we automatically usher them straight to the pulpit or the stage, and we give them a microphone and a Bible.
Right.
But the reality is that the Good Life is ministry. It's your ministry. I define ministry a little differently. Ministry is using your unique gifts and your abilities and talents to glorify God by improving the lives of others. That's ministry.
So our teachers,
absolutely,
our
educators are ministers.
Absolutely.
Even politicians, when they actually have a heart to serve the people,
we laugh and jest, but
become ministers. So we kind of open the mind to a whole new way of looking at.
I like how you use my tagline. I like that.
You see, I know how to blend brands. We open the mind. We're opening the minds to see ministry from a different perspective, because a lot of times people women, men alike, feel this unction, they feel this pulling for something, but they know it's not to get up on a stage and put on a collar and be a preacher in the classical sense.
I could never do what you do.
No,
Bless the Lord, I pray for you every day.
If you can get around doing what I do, you should. You know, nobody should really aspire to do what I do, because it's a life of total sacrifice and selflessness if you're going to do it right.
And the way that you pour yourself out to people is honestly one of the most amazing things about you, because you have something called the Father-Daughter Talk. You do the Manhood Academy, and you really focus on our youth so much, and especially with everything that's going on in the country, the nation today with Nice, France, and I'm just like, every day I'm like, we can't even like catch our breaths for a moment. There's something major going on every single day. And when I was younger, I mean, I'm sure I didn't pay attention to the news as much, but I didn't remember it ever being like this.
No, I don't remember, and I've been here longer than you. I don't remember. I definitely don't remember a time when there was so much constant chaos. I mean, it's like every week we have events that, if they happened in the 70s or the 60s, would have been like historical. But now we're numb to massive killings, and, we're numb to all kinds of things that would have normally just been outrageous to us. But as a society, we've been desensitized.
And I love that you're focusing on women next week, obviously, because, I fit that category. So what I already know how you thought of it or where it came from.
Yeah.
I know where it came from, but tell everybody else where it came from.
Well, we hear this term thrown around a lot today in church or religious circles, prophet. And my father was a prophet. But I think to a large degree, this generation, my generation and this generation, we misunderstand the spirit of what a genuine or an authentic prophet really is. The spirit of a prophet is a man or woman that hears the voice of God in whatever way that is. They hear God's voice, and they feel compelled to speak that voice into mainstream society. But when a person is really prophetic, or a person is really a prophet, there is a underlying sense of justice, where if there is injustice anywhere, that prophetess feels drawn to that cause. So all of that being said, having grown up in the church and having seen how the church functions religiously, I've seen women be literally the backbone of the church, sustain the church financially, sustain the church with their gifts, with their presence, and get little or no respect, no consideration. You're good enough to dust the pulpit off, but you're not good enough to speak from it.
Wow.
You are the lifeline of the ministry, but stay in your place. And, as a maturing man, I think we're always growing. As a maturing man, I am drawn now to the cause of really breaking those shackles off of the minds of generations of women who've had this burning inside to do whatever God has called them to do, but they've been subjugated by religious sexism. So, being consistent with who I am, being consistent with my brand, I called for sisters in ministry, women that feel they know what their calling is, women that are just trying to figure it out. I've called for them to come together and to meet with me for these few days or next week, and I'm going to open the mind and help them to live.
I'm gonna hire you.
Help them to live the good life.
I'm
going to literally open their minds and help them. They need to hear it. It's cool to hear it, sister to sister. But I think it has a different impact when you hear a man who's established in, the religious world.
Absolutely, someone you respect.
Yeah.
And I don't mean to be facetious, but in today's society, there are very few men.
Very few.
That we respect.
Even in ministry. And there are very few that deserve respect, to be quite honest with you. But, I just want them to, I want them to hear my heart. And hopefully when they leave, they'll leave with a greater confidence, with a greater certainty, if not a definite answer as to who I am, what I'm to do, with a definite understanding that no man or person has the right to, put limits on whatever God is saying to me. If God is calling you to do something, anybody that tries to interfere with that is out of their jurisdiction.
Absolutely, absolutely. And so I was going through a couple of your guests. Can you tell us who's going to be there? Because you have a fabulous lineup. I mean, you have like people from all over the country coming. And this isn't just a New Orleans thing, y'all. This is really ladies coming literally from all over the country. If you follow him and you know anything about everything that he does, he goes all over the country talking about the father-daughter talk. And we'll get into a little bit of that because I think that is really one of the draws. You are really like, ladies, this is the real deal. You want to know what men think and what's going on? This is what we're doing. This is the game we're playing. You lay it out.
This is it. Well, wanting to deal with the whole person, we have Dr. G, who's a money coach. And she's going to do a session relative to the woman and her money, and what's one of the biggest hindrances to hearing God's voice, or if, let's take the spiritual thing off of it. What's the biggest hindrance to maximizing you and fulfilling your vision? Many times with women, it's a lack of wisdom relative to money. So she's going to deal with that. We have my wife, Lisa, the love of my life, who is going to just kind of bare her soul. People don't realize it. They look at a person where they are, what they might look like, and they assume this is the life you've had. But the reality is that my wife is a victim of childhood abuse, sexual abuse. She's been on her own since she was 14 years old.
Wow.
And so she's really going to open up about how she's evolved from that place of pain and now coming into a place of power. Because, how many women have that same story? But
we put on our makeup and we act like it never happened.
Absolutely.
With the scars and the hurt living inside.
I was just thinking this morning that the woman's makeup is really like the new blood. It's the bleeding of the soul. When you see the woman with all that makeup, not that I have a problem. I love women with makeup, but many women use it to just cover up the break or the breaks or the pain within. So she's going to be dealing with that, turning your pain into power. And it's really just going to be kind of like her testimony of how she came through and how she's still coming through. Because as a husband, I'm seeing her process every day. That pain, it lessens. But it's a process. So she's going to just really open her heart up about that. We have another spiritual daughter of mine who's a minister, a prophetess, and a medical doctor.
Wow.
And she's married to a preacher who's a lawyer. That's a power couple for you.
Hello.
Prophetess Shamik Broomfield. She's going to teach a class entitled The School of the Prophetess, just dealing with women relative to your significance, your biblical presence, and how to function because our ministry attracts a lot of spiritual people who really hear God's voice, who are really, drawn to the things of the Holy Spirit. So she's going to help women to kind of unpack that prophetic nature, the dreams, the visions, the unctions and the understanding that you have that nobody taught you had to come from God. She's going to teach that.
That make you feel weird?
Makes you feel weird and look weird to people who don't relate.
Right.
And I get it. I really do get it. Then we have Dr. Ballard, who's an unbelievable biblical scholar. He's one of the designate bishops of the Family of Churches Fellowship. In fact, he's over education. He's going to be teaching women that are specifically preachers, how to develop a sermon, how do you develop an idea, how to find your authentic voice, not being carried away with what you hear in the wind, what's popular. Am I talking too long?
No, go through the people. We're going to.
And so he's going to hold that session for women that need that kind of instruction and insight. Maybe they can't get it from their particular church. Nobody set you down to teach you how to do this.
Just like nobody sat us down and were like, this is how you handle money. This is how it grows.
Absolutely. That's the whole nature, or whole purpose, rather. And the vision ultimately is that when I'm through calling these women together, that SWIM becomes its own community, kind of its own constitution and its own. I want it to become a community of sisters that support and aid and promote one another, so that you don't have to. It's kind of like it's kind of like black people. If black people would come together and really become a community, we wouldn't have to beg for anything. And I don't mean to just take it there, but
nope, because that's where I was going to take it.
Yeah, same thing with women.
That's exactly where I'm going to take it. We are going to take a quick break. We are here with Bishop R.C. Blakes Jr. of New Home Family Ministries. Their SWIM conference is next week, the 20th through the 23rd. Make sure you go online right now and register at swimconference.org. That is swimconference.org. I want to get into that conversation because I had a very interesting show last year. It was Why Do Women Hate on Each Other? So we're going to talk a little bit about that when we come back. Open your minds, y'all. We'll be right back.
Hello, I'm R.C. Blakes Jr.
And I'm Lisa Blakes.
And we want to welcome you to the 2016 SWIM Conference, Sisters Winning in Ministry. Check out who's going to be with us.
Ladies, join us at SWIM Conference with Prophetess Shamik Johnson Broomfield of the Embassy Life Institute, Dr. Christian Fellowship Worship Center, Life Coach Rul Ta Kim, Pastor Sam Blakes of the New Home Ministries, and the Money Coach Dr. G of Living and Victory.
This year is the year of activation for women in ministry.
Yes, it is.
And I want you to register for this conference. Meet us right here in the city of New Orleans. God is going to do a new thing in you. What's growing in you? What gift has God given you? What ministry is developing in you? We want to activate it.
Register for SWIM Conference 2016.
Join us July 20th through the 23rd, 2016 in the great city of New Orleans. Go to swimconference.org and register today.
Small businesses play an important role in society, and L&R Security is no different. L&R Security delivers safety and comfort to our neighborhoods, events, apartment communities, conventions, work sites, festivals, and your business. L&R Security can be reached at 504-943-3191 to ensure the safety of your employees, customers, family, friends, and you. L&R Security has made its mark in the security arena for over 37 years and will faithfully continue that tradition. Call today for your personalized consultation to ensure your security needs are met. L&R Security differentiates itself by creating partnerships with our clients and guards. We are now hiring armed and unarmed guard professionals, retired military, sheriffs, and PD to grow with us and impact our community. Be a part of the change with L&R Security. Call us now at 504-943-3191. 504-943-3191.
Are you looking for a better way to get fit? Bored with the same old routines? Looking for results or a way to instill discipline in the kids? Tiger Rock Martial Arts is the answer with Taekwondo, kickboxing, and self-defense classes. Tiger Rock diversifies your training in ways that allows individuals of all ages and fitness levels to feel like a champion. Join Tiger Rock today. TigerRockNola.com or 504-455-9694. That's 504-455-9694 with a 3-class starter pack starting for only $38, which includes your training uniform. Learn, grow, and succeed with Tiger Rock's 3 convenient locations: Old Metairie, West Bank, and Clearview. There's no better time to start gaining strength, skills, and protection for life than now. 504-455-9694. 504-455-9694. See you on the mat.
Carter Business Development delivers. For businesses to compete, they must have access. Let CBD be your bridge for business development services, radio advertising, social media marketing, brand ambassador, outreach, and access. Contact Carter Business Development at 504-400-7127 or email Eileen at tglradioshow.com. Carter Business Development creates unfolding opportunities. CBD connects the dots from where you are to where you want to be. Join the good life now with Carter Business Development. 504-400-7127. 504-400-7127. As quoted, a man who stops advertising to save money is like a man who stops a clock to save time. Let CBD save you time and give you access. Call 504-400-7127. 504-400-7127. Take the steps required for access so you can live the good life too with Carter Business Development. That's 504-400-7127.
Listen to WBOK 1230 AM anywhere in the world. Live at www.wbok1230am.com. WBOK 1230 AM, talk radio in New Orleans.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, and welcome back to The Good Life with me, Eileen. We are here on The Good Life Friday, and we're here to open your mind. The Good Life radio show is brought to you by the Swim Conference. That is Sisters Winning in Ministry. We have none other than Bishop R.C. Blakes in the studio with me today, and I am so excited because it is still his birthday. Yesterday officially was his birthday, but I want to make sure that we say it all day and every time I see you. Happy birthday, Bishop. I'm so excited to have you here. We're discussing Sisters Winning in Ministry. He is focusing on the ladies next week. It is a conference July 20th through the 23rd. You can make sure you go online right now and register. All of the VIP tickets are sold out. So, ladies, I am telling you, you do not want to miss it. I know. Wow. Exactly.
I didn't even know that.
Well, guess what? I pay attention. I follow.
Wow.
I make sure I get my information correct. So make sure, ladies, you do not want to miss it. It is a calling from everyone all over the country. It's not just people who are in churches. It's literally for everyone. It's a calling for everyone.
The things we're going to talk about, even for a person that's unchurched, will open their understanding, will open the woman's understanding to kind of eliminating people, authorities from your process and really going inside and getting your identity and your marching orders from God. That's really what it boils down to, because when we think about women who are restricted in ministry, it's due to the fact that many times they've taken some male leader and esteemed him to a place that only God should occupy. So that's a part of the process, kind of breaking down those idols that women have created in their minds of bishop this or prophet that or apostle this. And these people are... Or
little boy this.
Little boy this.
That.
Or little boy that. These people are boxing you into...
So I'm going to raise my hand. I've been that person. Where, you're in a relationship and, I just want to make this work, whether it be a marriage or whatever. And because God is at first, it doesn't work. It just didn't work out.
It does not work. It never works. It doesn't work in relationships. It doesn't work in life. It doesn't work in ministry. So one of my first aims is to really move the middleman out of the way, because so many women that are listening to us who have great gifting are locked down to waiting on the permission slip from some person, usually some man that's in authority in her life. And I'm trying to get women to the place, not to disrespect authority, obviously. I'm not trying to create, that climate. But at the end of the day, if you have a leader that's not teaching you that you have to really hear God's voice over mine, he or she is not really qualified much to lead you anyway.
And talking about hearing, other voices of, especially in today's climate, hatred and anger and wrath and things of that. We have that in our own community. And like I said before the break, we have that, unfortunately, with our females. Doesn't matter what color, but we're going to specifically speak of our own community right now. I told you I had a show last year of why do women hate on each other. And, a lot of it was due to colorism or economics or, statuses like that. And unfortunately, there was something on the internet the other 2 or 3 days ago about a woman who was body shaming another woman in a gym bathroom, took a picture of her and was like, I can't believe this. We're supposed to be taking care of one another, and we're body shaming one another. In this ministry, and the conference is about bringing women together. But what are your thoughts on, the hate? I mean, I just want, let's just be real, the hate.
Well, that's such an endless question. I mean, we can go on and on and on in terms of that. Relative to women, how, though I'm talking to women about, I'm trying to empower women to advance, excel in ministry and in whatever God has for them. When I'm through with that discussion, as a black male leader in the church community, women are going to have a private discussion about why are women not really behind one another. The black woman is going to have the discussion about colorism. I mean, I was kind of surprised to learn that some black people don't want to address that issue.
Act like it doesn't exist.
That may be the very evidence that it's more real than we'd like to think. And as a black man, 52 years I've been here and been a part of it. Colorism is very, very real. And women do have a tendency to gravitate to certain little groups and then demean other groups who are part of the same group. And now we're looking at, our nation that's being torn apart racially, which is a farce, because there's only one race, and that's the human race. Right. And we got people thinking black is this and white is that. So we have, I don't know, man. If we do not as a people, and if women do not as a group really sit down and have some conscious discussion about the things that divide us, the things that separate us. See, Donald Trump, and I don't know if I can mention his name on here, but Donald Trump has no power. His voice has no meaning if we are a community. Why did they kill Dr. King? I don't know how I'm going off on all of this. Why was Dr. King killed? Dr. King was killed because he was speaking too much truth, and he was beginning to mobilize poor people, which were predominantly black or mostly black in that time or at that time. And when he was getting ready to really create a sense of community in terms of how people thought and where they brought their resources, he was about to really take the Black Wall Street concept nationally, which would have meant, had he lived, the black community today could be probably the most dominant group on the planet. But when Dr. King died, rather than the leaders of that time understanding that there would be no rising of another Dr. King, that all leaders had the responsibility to take up the principles that he was teaching and to lead our people one little group at a time in the same direction. So if internally black people are together, if internally women are together, there's no force from the outside that can dictate your outcome. The only reason women, I mean, you think about the power that women have, the positions you guys hold, the money you all make. Just think about that group alone. If you really had a sense of community and unity and support for one another,
we could change the world.
You could change the world, but you most certainly could change how your world as women looks. The reason men are left with the power to dictate where the ceiling is for you is because women have not really come together. And that stands true for all groups. The unfortunate reality is that black people and women in general are the two groups that really don't who do not fully understand your true power if we came together.
And you're bringing up so many points for me, points that I've hit throughout my life. And, I'm saying I'm on my own personal journey. And there was a time in life where I didn't know my worth. And those were the reasons why I dealt with the people that I dealt with, and I did the things that I did, and, due to insecurities and just confusion. And it had nothing to do with, the way my parents raised me, because, I love my parents and they did an amazing job.
Yes,
but I think there comes to that time when you're in your upper teens and your 20s where you're trying to figure it out for yourself, and you're like, oh, they don't know anything. Yeah, they knew a little something, but they don't know anything, and I'm going to try it myself. And without God's leadership in my life, I was, bumped into walls blindly, and I did not know my worth, and, got into bad relationships and, let, men who were boys, lead me and guide me. But they have so many women who are in these same positions who don't know their worth. We were discussing a book yesterday, and she was talking about dating, and we were talking about how women, just are responding and well, why didn't he call me? Oh, well, his loss, that means it saved me time if he didn't call me, but getting to that point in life where that's your reaction rather than, calling and, what I'm saying, like running behind per se.
Well, I forget this lady's name, but powerful little lady. And her main focus is really trying to reconcile the races. And she brought out something that I never thought about. But when she said it, it hit me like a ton of bricks. This is what we've been wrestling with. We have been defining indoctrination as education. And indoctrination is me posing as an authority figure in your life and teaching you what I want you to know so that I can control the way you think about me, about yourself, and about your future. Teaching is where we take the real facts and we present them, not to my best interests, but we present the real facts. Well, when you look at America, the black man has been indoctrinated and he doesn't realize it. The woman has been indoctrinated, black and white. She's been indoctrinated to a lesser position in her subconscious mind. Though she may, aspire and reach lofty goals, in the back of her mind, she's been indoctrinated to believe, though I'm doing the same job as this guy, and I'm actually smarter than him, he's better than I am. She may never say that out of her mouth, but in her mind she believes that. That's what's happening with Black America. We've been indoctrinated, and so now there's a cry for education. I want the real knowledge. I want the truth. And so this is why, I have things like the father-daughter talk. Another thing that I'm extremely proud of that's just getting off of the ground is that we're getting ready to go into Orleans Parish Prison with the Manhood Academy. They're going to allow me to teach young offenders and old as well the classical principles of manhood.
Wow.
We're going to define manhood. What does it look like? How does it function? And hopefully open their minds before they open the jail and let them out, so that when they come out, they're not indoctrinated, but they're educated. This is why I'm having the swim conference, to break down some of the lies that have been filtered in through indoctrination and help women to see the truth relative to God's word and the facts of life.
I am so excited about this conference. We are here with Bishop R.C. Blakes Jr. The conference is July 20th through the 23rd right here in New Orleans. Make sure you register right now. It is swimconference.org, swimconference.org. You will not be able to get this type of word anywhere else across the country. You're laughing, but I'm serious. There are women who are literally coming from all over the country because they've heard your father-daughter talks, and you inspire people. And this is where he's going to pull it all together. He's taking people, y'all, not just, pouring into you, but financially. How many men out there are like, I want you to be on your own 2 feet? Well, you speak to that, and there are a lot of people who don't.
Yes, I do. I believe that any real man wants a woman that is self-sufficient. Now, watch this. He wants a woman that is self-sufficient, but he will not require her to be so. He will have a mindset to take care of her, but he always wants her in a position where she's self-sufficient and she feels her own power. Any man that does not celebrate you feeling your own power is not enough man for you. A king will only be satisfied with a queen, and a queen is a woman with power. And today God is raising up, and I know a lot of folk don't hear the God thing, but today there's a generation of men that are really getting it again and are really inspiring and encouraging women to reach for everything and standing behind them. That's the beauty.
And that's what a good life is all about. We are here with Bishop R.C. Blakes. The swim conference is next week, the 20th to the 23rd. Make sure you go online right now and register. We will be right back on Good Life Friday.
Hello, I'm R.C. Blakes Jr.
And I'm Lisa Blakes.
And we want to welcome you to the 2016 Swim Conference, Sisters Winning in Ministry. Check out who's going to be with us.
Ladies, join us at Swim Conference with Prophetess Shamik Johnson Broomfield of the Embassy Life Institute, Dr. Christian Fellowship Worship Center, Life Coach Rule Talk Kim, Pastor Sam Blakes of the New Home Ministries, and the Money Coach Dr. G of Living and Victory.
This year is the year of activation for women in ministry.
Yes, it is.
And I want you to register for this conference. Meet us right here in the city of New Orleans. God is going to do a new thing in you. What's growing in you? What gift has God given you? What ministry is developing in you? We want to activate it.
Register for Swim Conference 2016.
Join us July 20th through the 23rd, 2016 in the great city of New Orleans. Go to swimconference.org and register today.
Hi, I'm Henry Jolly, your relationship expert and nationally certified counselor. Everyone at some point in their life goes through struggles. I am a firm believer that people have the ability to will themselves into good situations, but sometimes they may need some assistance. Being a loving husband, father, and successful businessman while having a passion for the counseling profession has allowed me to gain experience with a variety of these struggles. Let's work together to achieve your individual, family, or marital potential. Come and see me at the New Orleans Growth Center, located at 3712 MacArthur Boulevard on the West Bank in Suite 209. You can reach me at 504-259-8671 or by email, which is henry.jolly@yahoo.com. Thanks for your time, and I'm looking forward to working with you soon.
Carter Business Development delivers. For businesses to compete, they must have access. Let CBD be your bridge for business development services, radio advertising, social media marketing, brand ambassador, outreach, and access. Contact Carter Business Development at 504-400-7127 or email Eileen@tglradioshow.com. Carter Business Development creates unfolding opportunities. CBD connects the dots from where you are to where you want to be. Join the good life now with Carter Business Development, 504-400-7127, 504-400-7127. As quoted, a man who stops advertising to save money is like a man who stops a clock to save time. Let CBD save you time and give you access. Call 504-400-7127, 504-400-7127. Take the steps required for access so you can live the good life too with Carter Business Development. That's 504-400-7127.
Are you satisfied with your current financial position? My name is Kenneth Barnes, President and CEO of KB Enterprises, where we specialize in putting together step-by-step financial action steps for your plan for today and for tomorrow. Whether you're 50 to 85 and need assistance with your final expenses, we have coverage options for every situation. Let us put life back into your finances. Call us today at 504-914-1202. That's 504-914-1202.
When I got hit in a car accident, the insurance company tried to give me less than I knew I deserved. I called Maurice Reed Jr. He got me $150,000.
I'm Maurice Reed Jr. If you got hit in a car accident, call me, 488-HELP.
You are now listening to the radio station that's keeping it real. WBOK 1230 AM, where it's real talk for real time.
Good morning, and welcome back to Good Life with me, Eileen. We are here on the Good Life Friday, and we're here to open your mind. We are back on the Good Life Friday. I am here with my very special guest, Bishop R.C. Blake Jr., my brother, and also the birthday boy. It was yesterday, July 14th. But we are in the studio today, so I am very excited to be here with him. And I do want to remind you to call in for the tickets to the play, The High Priestess of Dark Alley. You also will be receiving a $50 gift certificate to Dickie Brennan's Tableau. And the play is tomorrow. That is Saturday, July 16th at 3 p.m. The tickets and the gift certificate were offered by ILSI Engineering by I Am Tugger. So make sure you give us a call right now at WBOK 12:30 a.m. for those tickets. And Lee will be opening up the lines for the first caller. Make sure you call in for that because I want free food. Who wants free food at Dickie Brennan's? I want to go. Mm-hmm. Right. Mm-hmm. That's in the French Quarter. It's right there.
I've never had free food at
Well,
Dickie
see, you could call in. Look, we'll get one of your
Give
people
me
to call in
cell
for
phone.
you. Right. Tell them open their mind. I want to bring up a conversation that I had on Monday. I was really inspired by everything that has gone on over the past couple weeks. The shootings, the killings. I mean, I don't care, honestly, who they were. Somebody died. They were murderers.
Absolutely.
I don't care what uniform they had on, didn't have on. People were murdered every day.
That's exactly right.
And that's what touched my heart. And my show Monday was really about opening people's mind that this is a spiritual war.
It is.
That everybody the devil has us wrapped around with this is a race thing. And I said this, I am all about the black community and building the foundation, all about it. But I'm also about including everyone who supports us as well.
Absolutely.
Because, we get in this box where, we're only going to do this black, 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 black. But there are lots of people who are walking on the front lines with us. Not now, not even just now, but with Martin Luther King. Mm-hmm. There were people of all races and colors and creeds that were walking along as well. And I remember one of the things that really opened my mind when I went to your convocation was that there were so many men of different races and creeds. Yeah. I was like, that's amazing because, I thought it was, only a Baptist thing, to be perfectly honest. Yeah. But you opened my mind that night. A black Baptist thing.
But that was
intentional.
That was intentional because, another one of our initiatives as a ministry is racial reconciliation. And the thing I like to keep people mindful of, everything you just said, is that even now, when you look at what's going on relative to the injustice of police clearly murdering young black men or black men in general, not only do you see black people outraged, but you see white people involved. You see Asians. You see all kinds of people that are speaking to our cause. But if you live by the soundbite or if you live by the evening news, it's always going to be black against white. But when you dig deeper into the real sources of information, education, see, the news is indoctrination. But when you start digging into deeper sources, social media has changed the game. If you look beyond your normal little circle and you really look in a broader sense, you'll find that there are white people who are posting to their own detriment.
Yes.
Things relative to how they see white privilege and black oppression in this country. So it's not a black-white thing. It's a human thing. And just like we have white people that are in support of us as black people and other ethnicities, we also have to understand that poor whites are many times suffering the same thing that blacks are suffering at the hands of few bad cops. That's another issue we have to discuss. Most cops are not bad people. Most cops are putting their lives on the line. They love people. They're there to serve. But again, living by the soundbite, living by the evening news, you're being indoctrinated to believe that all police are bad, all black people are criminals, and it's black against white. It's us against them. And it's not, but we have to do the work to really learn, to understand one another, and to see life from a much broader perspective than my front porch as a black man.
Absolutely, absolutely. And one of those things are, and I know I had a caller call in, and he wasn't, particularly fond of my thoughts, but I told him they're my thoughts, and of course he's, welcome to his thoughts. I just feel like, anger and rage and wrath are blinding us to the bigger picture, which is exactly what the enemy wants.
Absolutely.
I'm going to throw this at you, and I want to cause confusion. I want you to not see the bigger picture. And even additionally with the, I was reading online now, there are so many of our black banks who are being supported now, but we want to continue this.
Yeah.
We want to make sure this isn't just because there was a murder in our community, because there are murders that take place every day. We want to continually create a solid foundation. And not just creating a solid foundation with what's wrong with other situations and other people, but also a solid foundation in our own community. So when we say, and I said I'd be all behind the protest and the boycotts of people who spew hate, anger, wrath, who do not take care of their employees, who are against whatever, who are spewing hate and anger. But I'm also going to be for those who are for us and make sure that we're very inclusive, because so many times we're really blinded by, the enemy.
Yeah. Dr. King put it, just paraphrasing, that we all go together and none of us arrive, And as you said, we have to be supportive and inclusive of those that are supportive of us, and we have to support them. But then when we get through with the marching and we get through with the outrage relative to the clear injustice of some very bad police, or at least extremely poorly trained cops who are the minority, when we get through standing up and marching relative to these issues as a black community, we then need to come inside and sit down and talk about our own issues, because we have to be even more outraged at the murdering of ourselves.
Yes.
And I think, I don't know how this continually misses our consciousness. If we really got as outraged about those persons who are supposed to be a part of our community, who are inside of our community, murdering our sons, murdering their own brothers, if we dealt with that, we could really change what the black community looks like, what the neighborhoods look like. Just 2 weeks ago, as a pastor, I had to funeralize and bury an 18-year-old boy murdered in New Orleans by another black young man. So, yeah, I get it. I get it. It's outrageous what happened in Baton Rouge, what happened in Minnesota, what happened in Houston that's really not getting a lot of attention. Young man murdered in the street. Well, he had his hands up and all that, but the video, his hands are clearly up in the air, and he's shot down in the middle of the street. Didn't get much attention because it happened almost simultaneously with the cops being killed in Dallas. I get the outrage, but when these moments subside, we got to deal with the fact that we have a community that says, I'm not ratting. And we're imploding.
Isn't that kind of hypocritical?
I think it's extremely hypocritical as a black man for me to be outraged about cops from another race killing one of mine, and then every day on the streets of New Orleans, Chicago, Los Angeles, wherever you want to call it, our black boys are killing one another like flies, and we say nothing about it, and we accept it, and then we support by our silence a mindset, a culture that says I'm not going to be a rat.
Right.
So we have a lot of
I'm gonna throw one more thing out at you. Well, I got you in the hot seat.
It's the hot seat, all right.
Because we're talking about, taking care of our own and being, responsible for our own. How does that also flow into media and music? Because we talk that talk, but then we sing that trap music in front of our children. And then, they're dancing and popping and twerking and doing things that no 2, 3, 4 or any child should be doing. And I'm watching, we're watching these fight videos, but we want to point the finger at other people. But when creating the Black Community Foundation, those who are destroying it, I don't care what color you are, I think we should speak to them as well, because we're indoctrinating ourselves with, these hip hop shows where, wearing nothing and fighting and women arguing.
It's acceptable.
We're talking about is acceptable. We're talking about sisters winning in ministry, but then we go to this conference, but then we go home and we have all these shows that we just can't miss, and we sit there and binge on them. So everything we just watch at the conference is just flooded out because now you're binging on Hip Hop Atlanta. But there's a supply and demand. The same way that we can go boycott this store and protest, we should be doing the same thing for the people in the music industry who are making, this music that is indoctrinating us, that it's okay to call our women, B's and H's and, and treat them and be pimps, and that's okay. It's not okay. But we don't seem to want to have those conversations.
Well, and the sad thing is that it goes back again to the concept of indoctrination versus education. This is a culture that is financed. This is a culture that is financed through media, music, whatever. And usually the people that are really at the top of the pyramid are not black. But they will fund this kind of self-poisoning. This kind of...
And they put a black face on it.
They put a black face on it. And because we as a people do not control our dollars, there's a certain ceiling we have. Whereas if we really became a community financially and otherwise, we could then say, okay, we're gonna stand behind wholesome messages and wholesome shows, wholesome music. A lot of these young men that make that kind of music, it's against their conscience. But it's the only way they're going to get paid is to make that kind of music. And sometimes you have somebody that looks like, well, I'm the boss of this, but usually the black guy that looks like he's the boss of this, there's somebody that's really behind him, and that person usually is somebody other than a black man. We have to open the mind and understand what's really going on. Marvin Gaye asked the question, what's going on? It's the dismantling of kings and queens. That's what it is. It's the dismantling of kings and queens by the diminishing of the self-perspective. When the woman begins to see herself as nothing more than a sexual object, she will sell herself to the first reality show to be the biggest whatever they need her to be. The young man will use his musical talents to pour trash into the minds of young black men coming up behind him to whatever extent is necessary.
But when we hit them in their pockets, we will have a different result, just like we hit anyone else in their pockets.
We have to hit the segments of this society, the powers that be, that are clearly against the liberation and the uprise of people of color. We have to hit them in the pockets. But at the same time, we have to sew our own pockets off so that we can contain our own dollars. And we have to begin to look at the various pillars of our community, and we have to claim ownership of that.
We have a caller from Houston. We have Mark. Mark, welcome to The Good Life this morning.
Good morning. How y'all doing? Afternoon.
Good.
How y'all doing?
Fantastic.
You know what I really just don't like is that, can anybody tell me any statistics that if in black communities where we harbor fugitives, they found people not snitching and not turning people in? Why is it always the police officer, whoever the system, you want to flip the script? We know there are good police officers on the force, but they're not turning into bad police officers.
Yes, sir.
But they telling us that we hired. We don't do that, because every time you look up on the news, if somebody get caught for a crime, they're going to be held accountable. We're going to get these people up off the street. So I just don't like to hear it all the time that, they want to try to reverse psychology, is that we hide fugitives and we not going to turn no killer over. If we don't know who the killer is, we can't turn them over.
Thank you so much for your call, Mark. We have 1 minute left. I'm going to let Bishop Blakes respond to that.
I really feel your passion. But as a pastor, of a large black congregation between Houston and New Orleans, there are many instances that I have conversation with, some of the young brothers in our church. And it's by their own testimony that they say this is the culture, that many times they we know in some instances who's done what. And a lot of times, Mark, it's quite often the same small group of people that are perpetuating crimes on a weekly basis. But I do feel where you're coming from, that we don't want to at the same time fall prey to a dominant media that can make us oblivious to our own reality. I feel you, but I do believe, and I do know rather, that there's a culture within our community that says it's not cool to rat, because if you do, you're gonna get killed.
Absolutely.
And that's kind of how it works. At
and
least from my
unfortunately,
perspective.
there's that same culture in the police department.
The same, and I never thought about it till he said it. The same cultures in the police in the police department. They know who's not a good cop. Police know who's not a good cop, but
it's the same for us. If we know that somebody isn't giving us a good name, shouldn't we say something? And it's the same rule applies to the police. If you know somebody isn't giving you a good name, speak up.
Yeah. Well, even, take it here, but you think about even in terms of clergy, ministers or pastors that are not right sexually or financially. Well, a lot of times a lot of preachers know who those guys are, but it's something, I guess it's an American thing. I never thought about it to that extent till he said it, though.
See what happens when you come on The Good Life? We open your mind, too.
Mark opened my mind.
Thank you so much for being here, Bishop R.C. Blakes Jr. The Good Life Radio Show is brought to you by the Swim Conference. Open your mind next week, July 20th through the 23rd. Make sure you are there. They have absolutely sold out of all the VIP tickets. You definitely want to be there. It's a calling for all women from across the nation. You hear we're getting callers from Houston. They are listening. Let's follow the call. Let's be there next week, July 20th through 23rd. You can go on swimconference.org. That is swimconference.org to register. You do not want to miss it. It will be on all of our social media sites at TGL Radio Show. If you missed it today, swimconference.org, because that is Good Life. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
And we're up.